Hello, welcome to my channel Streets MBA. I am Adeolu Timothy, and this blog is about lifestyle, tips for business, tips for personal living, finance, and everything street OT. It's been very interesting, so you're welcome. If this is your first time here, click on the subscribe button somewhere around here, and of course notification icon, so that each time I drop an interesting video, an awesome video, you get notified. Good. Today I'm going to be talking about a very interesting topic: money sense for broke people. We're going to talk about money sense for broke people. Some of us are very broke. We don't have money. So how can we move from being very broke to being less broke to having money? And if there's something I have realized is that principles are the same, methods can be different. If you're able to pick principles from certain people, certain experiences, I think we can. It's a box. It has 4 segments, and each of the segments represents the category. The first segment is the employee segment, which is led by E. Then you have the B segment, the S segment, and the I segment. For the E, the employee, that means you have a job. The B segment means you are a business owner, you own the system that works for you. And of course, the S segment means you're self-employed, you own a job. The I is you're an investor, money works for you. So E, employee, you have a job. S, you own a job. B, you own a system that works for you. And I, money works for you. That's a cash flow quadrant. So that is what I'm going to be talking around. That's what I'm going to be talking about. There's this general notion that everybody wants to be an investor. I don't want to work. I want to have my freedom. They tell you entrepreneurs have freedom of time. They have plenty of money and time to do every other thing they want. Well, I think not everybody's supposed to be an entrepreneur, but there's been a lot of misconception, a lot of wrong perception about the people that have 50,000 naira wants to invest the 50,000 naira and they want large return every month. So I think I'm going to talk about all of those things. Looking into your life, your source of income as of today, where does it come from? How we fund our lives is a function of where we are at the moment, either the E quadrant, the S quadrant, the B quadrant, or the I quadrant. And of course, the left side at the top from the cash flow quadrant talks about the E, meaning employee. And what this means is that you currently have a job and your principal source of income is salary. E means you're an employee, you have a job, your principal source of income is a salary. Then if someone leaves the employment and starts a business, the person is referred to as self-employed. And the principal source of income will be from salaries, dividend when business succeeds. From being self-employed, after a period of time, the company becomes established, it's no longer a one-man show, then that person has graduated from being self-employed to being a business owner. So a whole lot of people are actually just self-employed. It's a one-man show. If you're not there, your business is not going to run. They are not really classified or categorized as business owners. So you can now move, you can graduate from being self-employed to being a business owner. And to crown it all, you have plenty money, you can now graduate to become an investor. So essentially, you put money into other people's business for a stake and you get dividend at the end of the year. So the question is, what quadrant are you at the moment? E quadrant, S, B, or the I? Well, at the moment, personally, I am on the E and the S quadrants. I'm employed and I am self-employed. I'm an employee, I get salary, and I'm self-employed. I have a one-man show that I run, hoping to grow it into becoming a business owner and ultimately an investor. So I'm going to be talking about them one after the other. Each of these quadrants, they have their advantages and their disadvantages. That is something we must all appreciate. We must stop this discrepancy, this discrimination of salary is what they pay you to forget your dream and blah 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 blah. Now, each of those quadrants, they have their advantages and their disadvantages. So as an employee, you are guaranteed monthly income. That one is certain. However, your liberty, your freedom is taken away from you. You must resume work at 8 a.m. and close 5 p.m. And of course, at a certain stage of your life, you must retire from the job. Or perhaps the business might even shut down, or you might even get fired. I think the pandemic is an example of what is likely to happen to people who are on paid employment. The company might shut down, or anything might happen for the company to have to let you go. So sessions like this, content like this, interactions like this, they are important and very relevant. So it would help us to start to build a good foundation for our financial future. Now, the reason is that whatever happens, you want to be sure that you always be in a comfortable financial position. That is one of the things we want to ensure, that whatever happens, you always be in a comfortable financial position. Yeah, so let me ask the question, what is investing? What is investing? Because of course we're going to talk about investing, savings, money talk, and all of that. So what is investing? Investing is the act of committing money or capital to an endeavor with the expectation of obtaining an additional income or profit. You put money somewhere to get additional income. And we've had people talk about having multiple streams of income, having passive income, having active income, and all of those things. So, but it all gets mixed up. So investing is about working smarter, not about working harder. You have your money working for you. This is about working smarter. Now, there are so many options. There are so many ways to work smarter. There are so many ways to invest. Example is when you invest in securities and all of that. So I'm going to talking about different types of investments that are available. So imagine if you bought a share January this year at say 10 naira per share, and it has gone 100% in profit. That means by now you'll be having 20 naira per share profit. So imagine you calculate that. So that is the power of investing. It's about using your hard-earned money to create opportunities to make more money. That is what investing is. You must have heard about Warren Buffett before. He's one of the top richest people in the world. And he has something to say. He said about saving. He said, don't save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving. Like I said, principles are the same. Methods can be different. The principle of being financially prudent, the principle of investing, the principle of saving, they are the same. So these are things we're going to be talking about. Every time you spend 100% of your salary, you are not preparing for the future. It's as simple as that. I remember a few months ago, and of course a couple of weeks ago, companies had to let go of staffs. And typically, there's always cases of salaries not being paid. We have some states in Nigeria that I think almost over 10-15 states owe salary to workers. And of course, many people suffer and people die. Why does that happen? The future came. Reality hit them. There was nothing to fall back on. So investment is a way of setting money aside while you are busy with your life and have that money work for you so that you can fully reap the reward of your labor in the future. Investing is a means to a happier ending. You may not have a house today, but you can have a house tomorrow. But there's work to be done. It's not free. Let's move on. Investment is a process. We must understand that. Investment is a process that you must understand. But the question is, what should you invest in? But before I proceed into that, you must pay attention to two things, which I'm going to talk about. Number one is you must not spend all that you earn. Number two, you must create other opportunities to make money. Number one, you must not spend everything that you earn. Number two, you must create other opportunities to make money. We must understand these fundamentals. It is the bedrock. It is the bedrock. So it comes to questions. How do I save? How do I save? Number one is to save. You must set a savings goal. Make up your mind every month you will save 20% of your salary, or you will save 20% of every money that comes into your purse, into your pocket, comes to you. Either you're still an employee or a self-employed person. Sincerely, don't expect it to be easy. It is not easy to save. Because that's when everybody will be calling you for money. That's when your grandmother will swallow pin and they will tell you she needs surgery. That is when your niece will know that you are responsible for her as a family member to take her for her needs and all of that. That her phone is broken and she needs a phone to do ABCD things. It is not easy to save, but you must stick to it. Now, there is a rule called the 50-30-20 rule. 50-30-20 rule. You have now, all your spending should never cross the boundary of 80% of your earnings or your salary. All your spending, whatever you're going to spend. So the 50-30-20 rule talks about you spend 50% of your earnings on your needs, you spend 30% on your wants, then you save 20%. 50% of your earnings, spend it on your needs, 30% on your wants, 20% must go to savings. Like I said, it's not easy, but of course. So all of your spending, your needs and your wants should never cross the boundary of 80% of what you earn. Now, why should you save? Every day opportunities fly around us. Imagine someone who has a saving 20% of their earning for the past 1 year. Somebody could just call, hey, I have this piece of land I want to give up, I need to raise some money at a lesser price, maybe at 80% price, or the original price, or 7% the original price. Someone who has saved would have money to readily get such, to jump on such opportunity. Or maybe an offer came, and any kind of offer could come. Someone who has saved will have somewhere to dip money, to dip their hands into. And maybe at this point, let me say that there's a difference between saving, investing, and delayed spending. What most of us do in the name of saving is delayed spending. Let me remove from my savings to quickly buy food stuff. Let me remove from my savings to quickly recharge my phone. Let me remove from my savings to quickly this. You are doing delayed spending. Savings have a goal. I'm supposed to meet this target of save 150,000 naira in 6 months so that I can use it to buy a piece of land. So you must graduate from delayed spending to savings, and of course to investing. So one of the reasons why you should save is there could be opportunity to buy cheap land somewhere. Some people who have saved will be able to do that. So there will always be pressure for you to spend. You must understand that, and you must admit to it. You must agree to it. There will always be pressure on you to spend, but you must resist it. Those pressure wants to make your savings bucket to be empty. That is the goal. They want to ensure your savings bucket is empty. There will always be pressure for you to spend, but you must resist. Those pressures wants to ensure you don't have any money in your savings bucket. Number 2, track your expenses. I would advise you make all of your expenses go through your bank account. They keep record. But beyond that, what you can do is do what we call bookkeeping. Bookkeeping is the art of keeping record of your financial transactions. I can check my channel. I did a video about how to keep your books, basic bookkeeping for individual and for small business owners using tools you have around. I think the details of that is in that other video. Track your expenses. I will advise you, make sure all your expenses go through your bank account so that you can bring to your bank statement at the end of the month and track how your income came and your expenses, how much you made, what you spent money on. So in bookkeeping, that's when you track how much you spent on food, how much you spent on clothing, how much you did give you dashed out to people, and all of that. So you must be able to keep your financial record, keep your books, keep it intact. There are so many applications on Play Store you can use to do that, and of course there's an easiest way you can easily use on your phone that is stressless. I think I talked about that in the other video that I made. So track your income. It will amaze you that most of us are actually millionaires. We have that million, but because we don't keep track, we don't know how much comes in, how much goes out, what we spend money on. So if only you track how much has passed through your hands in the last 2 years, you'll be surprised how much. So if you start to keep your financial record now, it will help you to start to trace your steps back. Use your bank account for all transactions. Let all money pass through it. All your spending, as much as possible, try using transfer. But like I said, the adoption of technology in our ecosystem is still not there yet. So if you can't use transfer, do daily bookkeeping. Keep record of every transaction. You dash somebody 50 naira, you paid 20 naira for bike, you use 100 naira to eat. Keep record of that. It's in my other video. Number 3, have a budget. that you must never exceed. Have a budget that you must never exceed. See, stop playing people's Messiah. They are emptying your wealth bucket. If you don't help them, they will get help somewhere else. Imagine if you are dead, would they not find solution? So, stop playing the Messiah. Now, I'm not saying you should not be merciful, but have a messy budget and do not exceed that messy budget. Remember the 5-30-20 rule. Be merciful, but ensure you have a messy budget. Number 4 is set financial target. Let me ask you a question. What is your net worth? How much will you be worth by December 2020? So you must have a financial target you are working towards. Have a goal. If you don't have a goal, you might not achieve anything. Write that goal down. I want to have 30,000 naira in my account by December 2020. Then you start to work towards that. Alright? Number 5, get to work to make it happen. So we've talked about savings. There are two types of income. We have the active income and the passive income. The active income is income you earn from your sweat. So think about wages and salary. They fall in the category of active income. Passive income is income you earn without sweating. If you own a house and you have tenants there, the rent you collect every year is passive income. So you get paid for owning the asset. Here is a question, which I think the pandemic has made a reality to us. When you stop working or you lose your job, what happens to your active income? It stops flowing. Then what happens to somebody who depends on your salary alone? That is why you should not just depend on salary alone. Like I used to tell people that you should have different type of income. You should have, if possible, daily income, have monthly income, have quarterly income, have annual income, then of course have random income. They all accumulate together. Okay? So, how do you build a good financial life? Have a lot of passive income. That is the way to go. Have a lot of passive income. So you must have a financial plan. If salary stops coming, money will keep flowing from passive income. The question now is, what do you invest in? But remember, you cannot invest if you have not saved. You cannot invest if you have not saved. And I think we have dealt about how do you save. So how do you invest? Of course, you cut down your expenses. Save more. Stop buying things you don't need. Stop buying things to impress people who don't care about you. Cut down on your expenses. When you are financially free, when you are financially stable, then of course you can start to indulge your wants. But some of us have a lot of things we don't need. We buy a lot of things we don't need. Some of us have just one shirt. I'm not saying you should not look good. I'm not saying you should not indulge yourself. I'm not saying you should not take care of yourself. But start to prioritize. So cut down your expenses, save more. Now, going further, I'm talking about investing. What should you invest in? This is the fundamental rule you must understand. Every investment has two fundamental characteristics: risk and return. Every investment has risk and return. The higher the risk, the higher the return. The lower the risk, the lower the return. That is the rule. But most of us, we want lower risk, higher return. The fantasy does not exist. For example, people who invested in multi-level marketing, some of those Ponzi schemes that was around some times ago, they made high returns, but they took a very high risk. So the higher the risk, the higher the return. Of course, a lot of people lost their money in the multi-level marketing business, those Ponzi scheme and all of that. So it means that the higher the risk you take, the higher the chances that you will lose money. So when people bring all kind of investment opportunities and promise you unbelievable return, money doubling and all of that, just know that if you put your money in it, you are taking a high risk. You can lose all your money, and of course you can make a very high return. So every investment has risk and reward. So I'm going to talk about some form of investments, talking about the one with the minimum risk level. So the one with the most riskless, the investment that is risk-free is cash. Cash is the most riskless. You have your money in your hand. You have your money. It's a good thing. You have the power to use the money to buy anything. The bad thing is it makes you zero returns. Remember, you must put every asset to use so that it can earn more returns and multiply itself. You must put every asset to use. So cash is the most risk-free form of investment. Nothing can go wrong, of course. Maybe it can depreciate and like. So yes, having cash has no risk, but it has no reward and it has no return as well. After cash is what we call T-bills or treasury bills. It is very simple. It is when you borrow money to the government. Why is it safe? Because government can ask central bank to print money and give you your money back. So treasury bills has low risk and of course it has low return as well. So in some way it is guaranteed, and when you borrow government money, you earn some interest. So treasury bill is safe, your money back is guaranteed, but the return is low. Remember, the lower the risk, the lower the return. I think currently treasury bills has a return of around 3 to 8% annually. So the return is very low, but as well the risk is low. So you can buy treasury bills through the primary dealers and market makers. It comprises of banks and finance houses. Treasury bills is always a maximum of 1 year. So there is a 91-day treasury bills, 182 days, 364 days treasury bills. For 91-day treasury bill, you get paid your money and interest at the end of 91 days, and so on and so forth. The next on the list is government bonds. Next on the list is government bonds. It's the same as treasury bills, but government borrow for longer period, typically more than 1 year. You earn an interest called coupon, and at the end they will give you back your principal. It is safe, it is guaranteed, but of course the return is low. But of course the return is higher than that of treasury bills, and it is better than holding your cash where you get zero return. So government bonds it's currently around between 10%, 12%, and around that range. So you can check online. You can check online for the rates for treasury bills for government bonds. The next is you can invest in equities on either Nigerian Stock Exchange or any other stock exchange. Now, if you look at the charts on the website, if you Google stock exchange market, stock exchange watch, you will see list of prices of stocks there. Different companies, they list their stock and they sell per share. So you can buy. Now, depending on when you buy, you always see the charts of how the prices have been. If it has been falling, if it has been rising. You do your market analysis, so you know when to buy, you know when to hold, you know when to sell. All of that. Talking about forex market as well, stock market. They all follow the same principle. So you buy shares, you buy stocks, and you sell when the price appreciates. But of course, the price can go negative against you. But the risk on it as well. Risk, reward. Higher the risk, higher the reward. Lower the risk, lower the reward. So, but the return on stocks, the return on forex is not guaranteed. It's a function of how well the market is performing. So you can buy a stock for 5 naira and sell for 30 naira, or you can buy for 5 naira and the value goes down to 2 naira. So where treasury bill will give you a return of, let's say, 10%, shares can return 30%, forex can return 30%, but there are different level of risk involved. Lastly, there are alternative investments like real estate, farm, invest in agricultural projects, mutual funds, and all of that. So I'll talk about mutual funds. Mutual fund is when the finance company, when they put money together from plenty people and they use their discretion to invest that money. Their decision on what to invest money in is totally their own. You can't tell them this is what they should use their money to do. So they use their own financial expertise to make judgment on the best decision option to make. They make profit from it and they give a particular return on your money. So those are things that they can do. For a list of mutual funds available in Nigeria, you can check the SEC website, sec.gov.ng. You will see it there. Of course, you can Google a lot of things to get information. So that are some of the things you can do. Those are some of the investment plans you can decide to leverage into. But of course, we started by you must have a saving before you can invest. And we started by talking about different cash flow quadrants. So you must identify where you are at the moment. Are you an employee? Are you self-employed? Are you a business owner? And of course, are you an investor? So the goal is to go from one quadrant to grow into the next. So like we said, have a goal. Have a savings goal. Remember, without savings, you can't invest. Number 2 is get knowledge. That's why this kind of channel is there. Read, get information, get knowledge, and all of that. If you have any question, of course, you can drop it in the comment section below. I will address it and all of that. Number 3 is start taking baby steps. Start taking baby steps. So, the cash flow quadrant savings 50 30 20 rule. Never let your monthly expenses exceed 80% of what you earn. Save 20% of every earnings that you make. You don't know when opportunities will show for. Anything can happen. Then ultimately, never lose money. Don't ever lose money. So that will be it for today on this channel. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're not bored. I hope you've gotten an interesting thing and you've learned a thing or two. Whatever you think, whatever question you have, whatever comment you have, drop it in the comment section below. And of course, if you have not subscribed, do it now.